In the last video, we said rivalry over access, influence, and Arctic rules was only the beginning. We argued that Greenland is not about territory, but positioning inside a changing system. Today, we examine Greenland through the US military lens: time, distance, survival. But let's clarify something immediately. This is not about imminent war. It is about how military structure protects economic position. Because in geopolitics, economic gravity builds power. Military posture preserves it. The Arctic is warming faster than any other region on Earth. Ice retreat is not just an environmental issue, it is a logistical transformation. Shipping routes that were once seasonal are becoming operational for longer periods. The Northern Sea Route shortens transit between East Asia and Northern Europe. Transpolar corridors may eventually reduce dependency on traditional choke points. From Beijing's perspective, Arctic access is not conquest. It is diversification. China faces slowing growth, structural employment pressures, and demographic constraints. Export resilience is a strategic necessity. New corridors reduce vulnerability. Infrastructure builds leverage. Connectivity spreads risk. Russia sees something different. For Moscow, the Arctic is strategic depth and resource continuity. Energy reserves, shipping tolls, forward military positioning. Russia may not dominate global manufacturing. You rarely see "made in Russia" on consumer goods, but it retains relevance through geography and natural resources. And geography in the Arctic is power. The United States observes both dynamics, and it calculates time. Greenland is not a battlefield. It is a buffer. It sits between North America and Europe, between the Arctic Ocean and the North Atlantic, along emerging northern corridors. For the United States, Greenland extends early warning range, air and maritime monitoring, strategic depth. The U.S. presence at Patuxent Space Base, formerly Thule, is not about projecting invasion. It is about detection. In modern defense systems, detection time equals decision time. Ballistic missile early warning systems rely on geometry. The curvature of the Earth matters. Radar coverage matters. Position matters. Greenland improves geometry. That does not mean conflict is inevitable. It means planners reduce uncertainty. And great powers do not wait for uncertainty to resolve itself. Here is the structural point. If Arctic trade routes expand, and if infrastructure networks integrate Asia and Europe more directly, then maritime centrality shifts. The United States has historically benefited from controlling key sea lanes and financial corridors. If trade reorganizes beyond that framework, economic centrality slowly erodes. And economic centrality underwrites military capacity. So the military layer in Greenland is not about today's threat. It is about preventing long-term strategic insulation. Think of it as insurance. You do not build early warning systems because attack is certain. You build them because surprise is expensive. It is important to remain precise. China does not control Greenland. China does not have Arctic military bases there. China operates primarily through economic engagement, research missions, and infrastructure interest. Its Arctic strategy documents describe the region as a near-Arctic state interest. From Beijing's viewpoint, diversify supply chains, secure energy flows, reduce choke point vulnerability, stabilize long-term growth. Those are rational state objectives. But when multiple rational actors expand simultaneously, friction increases. Not because one side is irrational, but because systems overlap. Russia's Arctic investments are more overtly military. Icebreaker fleets, reactivated Arctic bases, air defense systems. Northern Fleet modernization. For Moscow, the Arctic is both shield and revenue corridor. Energy exports fund state capacity. Shipping control enhances leverage. Even if Russia's broader economy remains resource-dependent, military posture in the Arctic sustains global relevance. So Greenland is not viewed in isolation. It is part of a northern arc of positioning. The United States does not see immediate invasion risk from Greenland. It sees structural movement. If trade corridors evolve, if infrastructure shifts, if regulatory regimes change, then economic gravity migrates. Military presence in Greenland ensures visibility, monitoring, continuity. It preserves reaction time. Time is the one variable that cannot be improvised during crisis. Distance can be crossed. Resources can be mobilized. But lost time cannot be recovered. Greenland buys time. This is not an Arctic-only story. If northern routes scale significantly, European trade dependencies adjust. Asian export pathways diversify. Insurance, shipping, and logistics markets shift. Energy flows reconfigure. And when trade networks reconfigure, political alignments often follow. The Arctic is becoming structural, not loud, not explosive, but structural. China seeks stability through expansion of connectivity. Russia seeks leverage through geography and resources. The United States seeks continuity of economic centrality. Each position is internally rational. The friction emerges from intersection. Greenland lies at that intersection. The Arctic is not a battlefield. It is a stress test. A test of who adapts first, who protects economic gravity, who buys time before systems compress. Greenland is not about domination. It is about preservation. Because in great power politics, decline rarely begins with defeat. It begins with slow marginalization. Trade routes shift, networks evolve, influence diffuses, and only later does military balance reflect what economics already decided. The Arctic is not loud, but it is decisive, and what happens here will not stay here.